Last time we spoke about El Mayo, we spoke about how his lawyer said, "Hey, man, we're giving up on this whole get him sent back to Mexico crusade. Doesn't seem like that's gonna work. Doesn't it seems like his demands? Because for those that don't know, El Mayo demanded that Mexico do something, saying that he was basically fraudulently snatched, and illegally snatched from his country and brought to this country and thrown into prison. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Crazy. Sounds like the modus operandi recently. Um, he made those requests. He made those demands, and we kind of laughed about it and said, "Yeah, I don't see that happening." How much dirt does he have? Everybody said he got all the dirt. All the Mexican government dirt's gonna come out with Mayo. Encyclopedias. Think that what Chaparro said? He got encyclopedias worth of information. We ain't never heard none of that shit. So his demands fell on deaf ears, and then after that, the lawyer again reiterated, now we're just trying to keep the unaliving penalty off the table. We're not looking to get it extradited and sent back to Mexico anymore. We don't think that's going to happen, but we just trying to get this life sentence off the table. Trying to say he knows where the bodies are buried. Yeah, we think so, right? They said he got a deal. His deal is like there and ready to go, in the case that he needs it. He don't want to go to trial. From everybody's emotional understanding, nobody wants his son to testify against him, but his son is going to have to testify against him if he goes to trial. But again, the last thing we heard was his lawyer saying, we just trying to get the unaliving, the termination penalty off the table. That's what they wanted. Now, we got this. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs will file a 5-year extradition request for Ismael El Mayo Zambada. The Foreign Ministry argued that if this information were to be released, it would violate due process and the presumption of innocence of the rug trafficker. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs has decided to classify Mexico's extradition request for Ismael El Mayo Zambada, filed with the United States government, as confidential for 5 years. Okay? So the information within this filing is what they don't want to get out. Wonder what that's about. Foreign affairs, huh? Okay, so it's Mexico's extradition request. So they did make a formal request to extradite him. Mexico did. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs has quieted that. Is he worth it to Mexico to get back to save politicians? Or does he have the information we think he got? Remember, we used to think he was untouchable and couldn't be snatched. We saw that proven wrong rather quickly and abruptly. The ministry argued that if this information were released, it would violate due process. Due process? What are we talking about? We don't do that no more around here. Due process is a thing of the past. The ministry argued that if this information were released, it would violate due process and the presumption of innocence of the rug trafficker. Furthermore, it could jeopardize the prosecution of the crimes or jeopardize ongoing criminal proceedings and investigations into the individuals involved. Meaning there's information in there. Individuals that are involved are in this filing. If the requested information were released, the right to due process, which doesn't exist in this country anymore, the right to due process of the person sought for extradition, which in this specific case is Ismael Mario? Is his name Mario? I don't think his name is Mario. Ismael Mario Zambada Garcia could be affected. Since the information contained in an extradition request made by the requesting state is made known to the fugitive from justice until he or she has been detained for international extradition purposes, and the extradition process has formally begun in the requested state, the ministry explained. To me, this is all paperwork mumbo jumbo. I don't know that they're going to send him back. In early February, the head of the Attorney General's office, Alejandro Gertz Manero, reported that Mexico had requested El Mayo's extradition since his arrest. During his morning press conference on February 2nd, he emphasized that Zambada Garcia has 3 outstanding warrants in Mexico. We thought he'd be donezo by now, huh? The old man is a little stronger and more resilient than we thought. He asserted that Mexico has urged the White House to address this process 4 times without receiving a response. In this context, he explained that Article 15 of the National Code of Criminal Procedure, which establishes the right to privacy, would also be violated, as well as Article 128, which reserves the right to investigate acts, investigate records, and documents, regardless of their content or nature. They're just trying to keep shit quiet. He about to start dropping them DEA, CIA, FBI, and all U.S. government names he done worked with. Is he, though? I mean, I'm sure there's a lot to it. He can't just blurt the shit out, but you could be right. But, but that's not what his lawyer said last time. His lawyer said last time he's resigned himself to the thought and the idea that he will live the rest of his days behind bars. That's just me paraphrasing. It would significantly undermine the prosecution of crimes, since the dissemination of information could impede or obstruct the powers exercised by the public prosecutor's office during the investigation and before the courts of federal judicial branch. The information contained in extradition requests is provided by the Attorney General's office solely and exclusively to support its request, and not for public disclosure. He added, he don't want us to know. They want to keep us out of it. You know what I'm saying? Zambada Garcia has 3 outstanding arrest warrants in Mexico for 3 criminal cases filed. That's it, just 3. 60 years, 100 years in the game. He got 3 cases. Zambada Garcia has 3 outstanding warrants in Mexico for 3 criminal cases filed in the 5th District Court of Federal Criminal Proceedings in Mexico City, 5th District Court for Federal Criminal Proceedings in the state of Mexico, and 1st District Court for Federal Criminal Proceedings in the state of Nayarit. Mr. This goes to right here. Shout out Velez. Pinche AI writers, man. Is that what this is? Mr. Ismael Mario Zambada Garcia is considered by Mexican authorities to be a fugitive from Mexican justice. The irony in that, huh? He's a fugitive from Mexican justice? He was in Mexico. Y'all had y'all shot. What happened? To be a fugitive from Mexican justice, and therefore the government of Mexico has requested his extradition from the government of the United States of America, the Foreign Ministry stated. All right, so that makes a couple of things clear. And Mexico did make a formal request. All right, Mexico did make a formal request to extradite him. What that means to the United States government, I don't have a clue. They could be like, they can feel just like they feel about the Obrego kid. Fuck them. You know what I mean? Don't worry about it. He not going nowhere. Is this a glimmer of hope? Here's the thing. See, this is a misleading title. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs will file a 5-year extradition request. What they're filing is basically the gag order or the non-disclosure on an already filed extradition request. So they're trying to seal that for 5 years. So, if the old man survives 5 years, maybe there's hope, right? Who knows? Hit the like button if you have yet to do so. Maybe there's hope. Or maybe everybody needs a headline and we're just going to throw this back and forth until it all ends. We're going to have his lawyer saying, hey, we just want to take termination off the table. We're going to have someone else saying we want to do this. And somebody else saying he's resigned himself to the rest of his days being in prison or this or that or the other. So, who knows? We'll see. We'll pay attention.